All right, so we are back. In today's video, I'm gonna be testing my manufacturer's ability to follow instructions on my size chart. If you didn't see the last video, I unboxed my first ever clothing brand samples, which were 3 sweatsuits in 3 different colorways. So be sure to check that video out. I'm gonna link it up right up here for you guys so you can see what my reaction was when I unboxed it. But if you saw that video, you know that the samples need a bit of work. And I mentioned in that video that I wanted to do somewhat of a test just to see if the measurements I submitted were the measurements that they were made in. For the most part, they fit great, but the pants needed some work. So here I have the sizing that I submitted in my tech pack for both my hoodie, which you can see there, and my sweatpants, which you can see there. Basically what I want to be doing is taking each color and then checking to see if they got me right. This is just more of like an impromptu test just to see if they were able to follow my instructions, because like I mentioned in the last video, I didn't provide a already made size chart. I took these measurements piece by piece using garments I already had that I like the fit of. Then I made some tweaks to get it to fit the way I would like it to. This is just a test to check and see how closely they were able to get it to the measurements I submitted. Now, in all fairness, these were made by hand, and when custom garments are made by hand, cut and sew, there is some slight variance in the measurement, the finished measurement. I'm expecting it to be off by 1/4 of an inch or 1 centimeter, but anything more than that, it's like, come on, we gotta work on it. I will not be telling you the exact numbers that I have on my size chart, because again, this is my custom size chart, and I don't want you guys to be able to replicate the exact sizing that I have, because I gotta have some kind of separation for my own brand. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you understand. So what I'm gonna be doing is telling you what's right and what's wrong. Not the specific number that I have, but I'll tell you if the number is off and by how much it's off by. Hope that makes sense. All right, so have the hoodie, which we're gonna start with the hoodie, have my guide, and a tape measure. And I also need a pen. All right, so let's get started. All right, so start with the front. So first, let me list off the measurements that I'm gonna be looking at. So again, this is my tech pack, which was page 8 on my hoodie tech pack. So we have chest, length, shoulder, sleeves, waistband, waistband height, cuff length, cuff top opening, which is like right here, because I was very specific with every single measurement. What else? Cuff opening, armhole, the back of hood, the hood, which is the length and the width. And then I have that little half circle, applicate the back. I have measurements for that. We're gonna start by seeing if the chest was what I wanted it to be. I almost said the measurement out loud. You know what? I'll tell you the chest measurement. Measurements that are gonna be on the website for you guys to dictate if it's, you know, the sizing that you want. The chest measurement I submitted was 25 inches, which is gonna give you more of a relaxed fit. I'm not gonna tell you all measurements, only the ones that make sense for you, which are gonna be like the chest, the length, and the shoulders. They're like all I'm gonna tell you when it comes to this. The tape measure I'm using, one side has inches and centimeters, which makes this very easy because, as some of you already know, my manufacturer is in China, and in China they use centimeters. Of course, here in the States, we use inches. The first version of the tech pack I sent everything in inches, which I think they were able to use. As a matter of fact, this piece was made with inches, but I since converted my tech pack and resent it in centimeters. So I'm gonna be using one that has both on it. And here's a close-up of what that looks like. Just inches on top, centimeters on the bottom. So chest, I know for sure was 25 inches, which comes out to 63.5 centimeters. 25 1/4, 64 centimeters. You know what? I'm okay with that. So again, that's just literally half a centimeter. So I'm gonna put the actual, you know what? I'm gonna do all colors. So I'm gonna do brown. The length, which I submitted this way, right by the collar all the way down, and that is 68.5. Make sure everything is flat and smooth, because of course that's going to affect our measurement. The length is at 69. That's a half a centimeter less, which is good. Shoulder, I'll tell you guys the shoulder as well. That measures straight across, and that one is at 60.5. My measurement submitted was 58.5. That's a little bit off. All right, sleeves, I'm not gonna tell you what the sleeves are, because again, I gotta keep something to myself. But for the sleeve, I'm just measuring the top of the shoulder seam right before the cuff starts, because the cuff has its own measurement. All right, that's close. All right, next we have the waistband, the width of the waistband. Make sure everything's flat. Yeah, that's way too big. Waistband height. Cuff length, which is basically the same as the waistband height, so it should be the same. They botched a couple of these. In terms of the actual garment finish, it's not bad. It's just not specific to what I requested. These are only off by like, well, the cuff band, the cuff length is off by almost 1 centimeter, which I guess that is the variance that they did say could be. It really changes the overall finish. So I don't know if it's something I should make that big of a deal, but at least something I'll mention. So the cuff width top, which is right above where the cuff meets the wrist, I submitted that measurement. They're off by an acceptable amount, but I would like it to be a little bit closer, because I could tell even when I was wearing it that the sleeves did fit a little bit more. And this is my first time actually measuring this detail, so it's giving me more of an overview into why the garments fit the way they did, which wasn't bad, but I knew it wasn't exactly what my specifications were. That's not exact. Now that I laid it flat. So let's see the armhole, back of hood. Flipping it over now. I'm almost done with the brown here. Now we're measuring the hood width and the length. All right. The width is good. Let's measure the length. The last piece. I almost forgot. I gotta check the measurements for the pocket. I submitted measurements for every part of the pocket, which is gonna be right here in this corner. So let's check that. So let's see how well they did with the pocket size. I didn't want a big oversized pocket, just something that was fairly minimal and had good size. That width of that pocket is off by like an entire inch. Yeah, that's no good for the width. The width of the pocket is not as long as I wanted it to be. It's not as wide. Yeah, they did not make this pocket as wide as I wanted. Oh man, even the height of the pocket is a little bit short. So we're done with the brown. Let's check out the green. All right, the chest of the green. This one is actually a little bit wider. I'm gonna put that at 64.5. Is within the acceptable margin. My submitted measurement for the chest was 63.5, and again, that's going to be about 25 inches. I got 64 out of the brown and the 64.5 out of the green. It's still fairly acceptable, but anything more than that will be unacceptable. We still got the black to test, so we're going to see, but so far it's still within that range, but it can't go past that. So we got the length, and again, my submitted length was 69.5. The length on this one, make sure everything's flat, puts us at 69, so it matches the brown. Now we're testing the shoulder. My submitted shoulder was 58.5, which puts us at 23 inches. Let's see what this is. I would say it's 60.5. Let's see the sleeve length. So the sleeve length, the same as the brown. Then let's look at the waistband. I want my waistband to be a little bit on the fitted side because I prefer to cuff it up. And the reason why you want it to be fitted, so when you cuff it up, it'll stay put. The reason why people's hem of the hoodie never stay put is because it's too loose. If it's more of a tighter fit, it keeps the silhouette intact and it just has more of a flattering look. And that's just my personal opinion, which is why I want it to be that way. Which how it looked, if you saw the last video, I did it on body portion at the end of the video. With how it looks, it doesn't look horrible. Like it looks fine. But I can tell when I put it on that the waistband wasn't as fitted as it probably should have been. And this kind of just tells me why it fit that way, or at least felt that way, because it wasn't to the measurement I requested. oddly, the green is way more fitted than the brown was. The green actually came out to what I wanted. Let's see the waistband height. Whoever worked on the green one got me much closer to the measurements so far. And honestly, all three fit fairly similar. So even though like these measurements aren't exact, on body they still fit closely similar. Because we're talking about the difference of like half a centimeter or a centimeter. Some of them are a little more alarming, but still not like over the top. This just allows for me to gather more data and gather more information so I can go back to my manufacturer and say like, hey, let's see if we can get this measurement much closer to my requested measurement. There's a couple of these that I want to try to get a little bit closer, try to be a little more specific on. I'm okay with it so far. You know, whoever did the green one, they did a better job at getting much closer to the measurements that I requested. All right, almost done with the green one. So a few more measurements, which is basically the pocket, and then a couple miscellaneous measurements here. So I did a one of those hood openings that kind of flaps over, what do you want to call it? So I did one of those. We didn't get my exact measurement on either the brown or this one, which I could tell from hand that it wasn't. But now I'm able to see exactly how off it is. I wanted this space here to be 1.5 inches, and they only did 1 inch. So maybe they felt like that is what they typically do, but I just wanted it to be more because when you're wearing it and it starts to pull, this inch allows for more of that to be seen. If it's 1.5 inches, you don't really see the inside of it as much. That's why I did that. I gotta communicate that to them. Like some of the stuff they did seems to be more deliberate because they, of course, are used to making way more garments than just my request. But also my request it almost feels like it was ignored. Not the fact that they couldn't do it, they chose not to do it. That's kind of what it feels like. So let's see what the pocket on this one is hitting for. So then we have the black to do, and then I got all 3 sweatpants. It's a bit time consuming, but it's beneficial and important because it allows for me to, one, vet this manufacturer even more with their ability to just follow my requests as far as like fit. They really did not get my pocket width right on this one either. And you know, it's funny because when I first got it, I thought the pocket looked a little bit small, but I kind of just assumed that's what the measurements look like on this. But no, they really didn't get the pockets as accurate as I wanted to. So that's something to communicate, because we're talking like a difference of 2 centimeters, which that's the unacceptable rate that we're talking about. Because 2 centimeters is going on towards 1 inch, and it's supposed to be like 1/4 inch, not 3/4 to almost 2 inches. That's what we're looking at unacceptable. One more left on the green, and then we're gonna move on to the black, which is this bottom part here, also short. That's it for the green. Let's move on to the black. The last of the hoodie is gonna be the black, and same thing, just repeating all the same steps. Lay it out flat. Start with chest, length, shoulders. Those I will tell you. And then the rest, you guys should know by now, I keep to myself. Chest, my requested measurement was 63.5. And this one is at 64. Again, acceptable. Length, my requested was 69.5. Both the brown and the green were both 69. So let's see what this one is. Wait a minute, I didn't like that first measurement. Let me flatten it out. That first measurement was not right. Let me make sure I got it nice and flat. The black is coming up pretty short. Black is coming up pretty short. The black we're at 67.5, shorter than all the other ones. I gotta make sure I'm measuring this right. Let me give it a little bit of a shake. I feel like this is user error. This has to be user error. So let's see here. No. Yeah, the black is the black came up pretty short. I measured it 3 times. Black came up 2 centimeters shorter than the others. On body, I can't say that it looked bad. It just, we didn't get it to where it's supposed to be. 60 on the shoulder. Let's look at the sleeves. Sleeve is also a little bit short. I'm actually gonna finish this up on a little bit of a time lapse. Then I'll come back at you with my overall findings. All right, so we're finished with the hoodies, and this is the overview. So I gave you guys the chest, length, and shoulder measurements. The chest, my requested was 63.5, which is about 25 inches. The brown came at 64, green came at 64.5, black came at 64. 2 of them are only half a centimeter within range, and 1 is a full centimeter. As I mentioned, the allowance is usually about a centimeter, so all of those are within range. For length, my requested was 69.5. Brown and green came at 69. The black came at 67. I don't know what that's about, so I gotta ask him why the black came in a bit shorter. And again, these are only my first samples. The second samples is when we went off of centimeters only. These first samples were made using inches. So I'm wondering if the second samples will fit any better. I'm gonna ask about that and then see why we got this out of these first samples. The sleeves are fairly accurate. Again, the black one came up short. Waistband, the black and the brown both came up a little narrow. Waistband height was within range for all. Cuff length within range. Everything else was fairly within range. The only call outs was 3 measurements for the black and 1 measurement for the brown. And then for the pocket, which is the kangaroo pocket, that one, the height and the width was off on all 3. So I gotta figure out what that's about. And also the hood overlap in the front was off on all 3 as well. So for the most part, everything was fairly good except for a few things here and there. So I'm gonna communicate those. But now we have to do the sweatpants and see exactly how those sweatpant measurements is going to come out. So let's check that out. So now it's time to do the sweatpants. It's actually the next day. Last night, it got kind of late and I wanted to go to the gym, so I did that. Now we're gonna go ahead and get this knocked out. We got 3 sweatpants in 3 colors. We got the brown, of course, the green, down to the black last, just like I did with the hoodies. Oh, I need the rest of my stuff. We got the size chart, and then we have the tape measure and pen. There's a couple measurements I had to double check. When I first got it, I checked the waist and the thigh, but I'll still go ahead and go through those. By the way, I don't think I said this. All of these samples are in a size medium. I think I forgot to mention that. So the sizing is for a size medium, which is the size that I wear, which is the sizing I submitted for my samples. The grading will be done professionally by them. So it'll make sure that all of the sizing is appropriate and accurate, at least scaled to what the sizing of the medium is. For the sweatpants, we're gonna be measuring the waist, the width of the waistband, the height of the waistband, which is like the thickness. And as you guys can see, it is a fairly thick waistband, which of course is what I requested. But we're gonna see what the actual measurement comes out to. We're gonna measure the hips, the outseam length, which is from the top of the waistband to the bottom of the cuff, the inseam, which is from the bottom of the crotch down to the cuff opening, cuff thickness, the thigh, the back pocket height and width, and honestly, that's it. As I mentioned when I did the unboxing, I didn't submit a measurement for the rise when it came to these, but like I said, with the second samples, I did submit the measurement for the rise. Now this has that rise measurement on it, but since I didn't request it for this, I'm not even gonna bother measuring it because it's not, I did measure it, but I'm not, for this, I'm not gonna measure it because I already know it's not accurate to what I requested here. And then that's it. Not as many measurements as it was on the hoodie. So it shouldn't take as long, but we still got some work to do. So let's hop into it. What measurements will I tell you guys about on this one? So the waistband, I'll tell you the waist. Again, it's a size medium, but I'll tell you what the waistband is. I'll tell you what the hips are. I'll tell you what the overall length is, because I did mention that they were a little bit short. So I'll tell you what that length is, and I'll tell you what the thigh is. So I'll tell you the waist. I'll tell you the waist. I'll tell you the hips. I'll tell you the outseam, and I'll tell you the thigh. Those are the typical measurements that will be listed on the website for you to reference for sizing. So let's look at the waist. The waist that I requested was 33 centimeters, which as far as inches, it's 13 inches. And again, it's an elastic waist, so it's supposed to stretch. So you may hear 13, like, man, that's too small. And of course, it stretches. So it's not small as you think. But I did measure this, like I said before. And I think, if I remember correctly, it was like 11 and a half, which I wasn't complaining about because it actually fits on body and it feels comfortable. Yep, 11 and a half. I don't know how I remembered that. 11 and a half is what this one measures to, which actually a little over 11 and a half. So that's 29.5 centimeters. So let me write that down. Honestly, I'm not mad about that because, like I said, it fits, it feels comfortable. If it didn't feel comfortable, if it was too tight, then of course I would raise concern about that. But it didn't feel tight at all, so I'm cool with that. All right, the waistband height, the thickness of the waistband, they got that exactly to what I wanted. Yeah, that's perfect. Nailed that. And I can see looking at it too that it's fairly thick, so that worked out. Let's measure the hips. Hips are usually measured, everything is of course measured laying flat, but the hips are usually measured at the widest point, which usually comes down to right underneath the pocket. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Let's check the outseam length. This is what I didn't check, but like I mentioned when I unboxed them and tried them on, they did seem like they was a little bit short. That's at 98 and I submitted 99. That 1 centimeter of a difference that I was pretty much talking about, which is about half an inch. Let me do more of a stretch, see if I can measure that one more time. Now, when I stretch it out, we're at 99. So I'll give them that slack. We're at 99 when I stretch it. If you guys saw the unboxing video when I tried them on at the end, let me know if you feel like they were just a touch too short, if that should make them a little bit longer, because my personal preference would probably be to have them be just maybe like a half an inch longer. Personal preference, that would put us at 100 centimeters, which I think that would be perfect. But right now it's fairly accurate. We have the inseam. Inseam appears to be up by 1 centimeter, which I'm okay with that. The cuff opening, I think I did measure this because it did feel a little bit snug, and it actually is. But again, this is the first sample. I'll see what the second sample looks like, but they're not like overly tight around the ankle to where it's like cutting off any blood flow or any kind of like restrictions there, but it is a bit on the snug side. Not necessarily a severe complaint, but maybe something to just look at. So far, everything is looking good. The thigh is 33. When I initially submitted my tech pack, I actually said 12 inches. Then I realized my mistake when I overviewed everything, so I had to have them corrected. So I have the thigh at 13 inches, and again, that's a size medium. You could see how they fit, you saw the last video. But for me, I wanted to have them fairly relaxed in the hips and the thigh, because my whole mindset towards something like a sweatsuit, which is all about comfortability, is to not have it be overly baggy or tight, but to be like a relaxed, comfortable fit. That was my whole goal with the fitting and the measurements. I wanted the hoodie to be slightly oversized, but relaxed, not really oversized, I guess relaxed. And I wanted it to be relaxed in the hips and the thigh and have a bit of a better taper down to the cuff. And again, if you saw the unboxing, you know I did have some gripes about that, which I still have to communicate. I just have to figure out exactly which measurement I'm going to do. Since I didn't submit it, I gotta figure out exactly how much I'm gonna take that in. So I still have to do that. It looks like that was it from the front. Now let's check the back pocket. Looking at the back pocket, I can tell the back pocket looks small. So I definitely want to raise some concerns about that. The back pocket height was missed by 2.5 centimeters, which is a lot. That's significant. The back pocket width was missed about an entire centimeter, about 1.5 centimeters. Again, that's something I gotta mention. The back pocket is much smaller than it's supposed to be. All right, that does it for the brown. The call outs, let's see what needs to be worked on. Honestly, the only significant difference was the back pocket. I didn't submit the measurement down for like the ankle area heading towards the cuff, so that's just something I gotta fix. But as far as the measurements I submitted, the biggest problem was the back pocket. We're gonna switch over to the green. Well, that was stupid. Waistband on the green is 31. So the waistband on the green is a little bit bigger on the green, wider on the green than it is on the brown. Again, I've tried all of these on, it still fits good, so there's no complaints there. The waistband height's good. Let's see what the hips are. The hip is 56. I don't think I told you what that is in inches. That's essentially 22 inches across the hip. It just allows for you to have that comfortability around the hips, around your butt, so it's not, nobody wants tight sweatpants. This is unisex, by the way. I don't think I've told you guys that. This is gonna be a unisex piece, set. So any ladies that's watching, if you want to support and want to purchase anything, you can purchase as well. So outseam, the green seems to be a little bit longer than the brown. I have that at 100. Interesting. I gotta try these back on again and see exactly if I'm able to pick up on a difference when I'm wearing it. Because I don't think I noticed that too much when I put them on the first time. Inseam, let's see the thigh. Thigh on the green is about 33.5. The thigh on the green is only 0.5 centimeter bigger. Again, not significant. Let's look at the back pocket. This goes by much quicker than the hoodies. The hoodies had way more measurements on it. This is going by pretty quick. Back pocket height. Back pocket still a little short. Visually, I can see that it looks similar to the brown. They didn't get the back pocket right. Is that a huge problem? Not necessarily. But if you want to put your phone in this back pocket, where's my phone? I have the big iPhone. I forget what it's called, the Pro Max, whatever it's called. If I put that back there, that's not a huge problem, but I would prefer to have a little more coverage on that phone. And that was my idea with the reference, is why I had the pocket be a little bit bigger. And I feel like this is not as secure, it could easily fall out. Maybe it wouldn't, but I'd rather be safer than sorry. So I'd rather have that pocket be a little bit longer. They made the pocket much wider than I requested, but they also made it much shorter. It really could stay with that width, but it has to be a little bit deeper than where it's at. All right, and I think that does it for the green. Now let's switch over to the black. All right, so now we're working with the black. Yeah, this is a much simpler process than the hoodies. Those hoodies were time consuming. All right, so let's see what we got here. Same process. Let's test the waist. I don't know if I said this. I'm doing the waist relaxed, not stretched. All three were different. I guess that's understandable because all three of these pieces are made by hand. When somebody's making something by hand, you're never gonna get the same exact, well, I won't say you're never. I would say it's not likely that you're gonna get the same exact measurement every single time. As close as possible, but not the same exact every single time. I submitted 33, the brown was 29.5. And again, 33 is 13 inches. The brown was 29.5, which puts us at about 11.5. The green was 31, that puts us at about 12.25. And the black is 30, which puts us at about a little under 12. That's extremely close, not significant. The waistband height is the same on every single one, so that's good. The hips are good. The length on the black is coming up a touch short. I'm trying to stretch it so I did that 3 times and that came up at 98. I'm gonna look back at the footage when I had them all on and see if I can tell that difference. I mean, we're only really talking about the difference of like 1 centimeter, so I guess you probably wouldn't be able to tell. With that kind of margin, it's very hard to notice. They're all within range. I would like to try to get a little bit closer, but I guess it's nothing really to complain about. Let's check the inseam. Inseam is 70. Let's check the thigh. 33. I submitted a thigh of 33. Again, that's 13 inches. The brown was 33, the green was 33.5, and the black is also 33. So all 3 of them are acceptable. And now we're at the back pocket already. That was quick. Looking at this, I can see it looks small just like the others. Let's see what the back pocket is looking like. So back pocket height, also short. I wonder why they did that. Pocket width, we're missing 2.5 centimeters, which is, we're missing an inch pretty much. We're missing an inch from the back pocket. Maybe they felt like it wasn't gonna look good like that. I don't know, but I want that extra inch on that pocket. Not entirely sure. That does it for the black. So that's every pair of sweatpants measured. And what are the call outs? I talked about the length. I think I will try to get maybe like 1 more centimeter, maybe 1.5 centimeters longer. But again, you guys let me know. You didn't see the unboxing video. Watch the unboxing video and let me know if you think the length is cool the way it already is, or if I should extend it just a little bit longer. Everything else is good. Only significant problems. It's up to me to extend the length in the back pocket. The back pocket, man, the back pocket, we did not get that right. So we gotta figure out what's up with the back pocket. I just gotta figure out exactly what I want that calf measurement to be. Then I gotta request that. That does it for the measurements. Just to test this out and see if I'm able to pick up on that difference between the brown and the green, I wanted to look closer at the length. So the brown was at 99 and the green was at 100. And I stretched it out as much as I could, and you can see that difference there. Such a small difference. That's a difference of 1 centimeter, if that. Really, really hard to notice that. But I'm wondering if I should even give both of them just a little bit extra length, just in case. So again, you guys will let me know. Went ahead and added the black on top. Everything is stretched throughout the leg, starting at the top of the waistband for all 3. And as you can see, there is some slight variances in the length. The black is just a touch shorter than the brown, which is just a touch shorter than the green. I gotta look back on the footage and actually see how much these made a difference. This is the clip from the unboxing video at the end. Here is really hard to tell because I did kind of stretch them out to where I wanted them to be. So it's really hard to tell. Now knowing that it's just a touch short, I just know I have to communicate that I want to try to keep them all the same length, even with production, because I want there to be some consistency through my brand. And sizing, it has to be consistent throughout sizing because that's extremely important. That does it for this video. Just a run through of these measurements that I submitted in my tech pack, just to see exactly how closely they were able to get it. And honestly, I think they did a good job. There's only a couple things on the hoodies, and really the pants is the back pocket and the length. And I gotta submit a measurement down towards that calf area just to make sure I'm getting a better taper there, which is something I gotta figure out. Maybe I'll do a video figuring out that measurement, because what I think I'm gonna have to do is put one of them under the sewing machine and just figure out exactly where I want that measurement to be based off the fit of how it fits now. Because the fit from that mid thigh is good, but I wanna get a better taper. And again, let me know what you guys think. What is your opinion on that? That's just how I feel. There's not too much to complain about. I think they did a good job. The measurements are fairly close within range. And again, these were only the first samples. The second samples I expect to be better because after these were made, we did have more detailed communication. There were some adjustments that I knew needed to be made without seeing these. With these, the biggest adjustment more than anything is the color for the brown and the green. We have to get that closer to what my specific choice was with my tech pack through my choice of Pantone. Where it's at right now is not right. And if you saw the unboxing video, again, I keep referencing that, but if you saw the unboxing video, you would know I showed what my color choices were, what I submitted, and I showed it side by side of how it looks. and we didn't get there, so we got to fix that. Aside from that, I think everything else is okay. So if you guys aren't familiar, February is Chinese New Year, so they've been pretty much off this entire month. They're going to be starting back work soon, so I'm going to be figuring out exactly what my communication needs to be. I think that'll probably be another video too. Maybe I can make the adjustment for the calf and my communication all part of the same video, so I'll see what that looks like. But aside from that, man, this journey is just the beginning. I'm starting with sweatsuits, like I mentioned. I plan to do a lot more different types of garments, different type of clothing, stuff I like to wear, stuff I want to create. So yeah, man, this is going to be one heck of a journey, and I'm going to do my best to enjoy it through this entire process, no matter how many ups and downs that it may have. That's life. It comes with the territory. You can't escape some things just not working out the way you want them to. If you're new to this channel, subscribe. This is my second channel. I have a main channel where I do more men's fashion, men's styling, more lifestyle stuff. So you can check that out over there. I'm gonna link it down below. And it also should be on the main page of this channel as well. So feel free to check that out and subscribe for more of this journey. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace.